Hello everyone! This hour on Verbling, the next in my speaking skills series. This week, we're going to begin a brand new unit. I'll talk all about the unit in just a moment, but first, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate in my class. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means when you're not speaking, turn off your microphone so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. When you are speaking, tune in to the new words and expressions you're learning. So that means that you use them actively and I correct you, give you lots of feedback. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. That's a little bit about me. Let me tell you a little bit about the class. So we're going to start a brand new unit. In the description you can see you will be practicing how to adapt your language to be more or less formal. You can adapt your language according to the situation. So we'll be doing a few exercises, but I'll be giving you lots of speaking practice as well. And what I'm going to do here is say hello to some new faces, give you the link in the chat window, and then we'll get started. Okay? So, welcome back Daniel, and welcome back Vincenzo. Oh, and Salwa.
Good morning.
Hello. Hello everyone. And let me just say a quick hello to a new face, which is, it's Salvatore. Hello, Salvatore. How are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine, thank you. Nice to meet you.
And is that Dante Algieri?
Yes,
Is that a picture?
Dante Alighieri, teacher.
And what's he doing? What's Dante doing?
It's because Dante Alighieri is considered a father of Italian language, and this
Yes.
is a comic, teacher.
Ah, I see. Is that a rainbow coming out of his mouth?
No, it's coming from his mouth, coming Italian language.
Oh,
Because
that's the Italian language. It's a flag coming out of his
yes,
mouth. Oh, I see.
he wrote
Very good.
the Divine Comedy, and after that book, was born Italian language,
Molto
standard Italian
bene.
language. Yes.
Very good. Well, let me just share the material with you, okay, and then we'll get started. So, first of all, as you know, you'll always find the class material under the video window here, but I've already posted it in the chat window on the left side. And you know what? Why don't I give it to you again inside the classroom in case you don't have it. There you go. So now it's inside as well. When you open it, by the way, I'll share my screen so you don't have to open it, but if you want to, you'll know you're in the right place when you have this purple Speaking Skills logo. You have my, hang on a second, let me just go to the right page. One moment. There we go. So scroll down, you got my contact there, table of contents, and I'll be filling in some of the things that you see there. Like it says skills, how to. Well, at the end of the unit, we're going to see how to be formal, and that information will be there. Let's go to today's class, which is on page 6. Okay? And let's find out what we're going to do, first of all. Oh, we have to say hello to Mr. Roos, too. I didn't see you come in. Hello, Roos. How are you?
Hello, John. Fine, and you?
I'm very good. Mr. Roos, is that the Tour d'Eiffel behind you?
Yeah.
Are you French?
No, I'm from Kazakhstan.
You're from Kazakhstan, but you were. Yeah. It looks like you were visiting France.
Yeah, I visited business trip.
Oh, I see. Or does Kazakhstan also have an Eiffel Tower?
That's small,
No,
small one.
a small one. Very
Very
good.
small.
Very small Eiffel Tower. Very good. Well, listen. Here's the plan. We're going to talk about formal and informal language. I'll make my screen a little bigger. It's probably hard to see. So if you can open this if it's hard to read, but I'll try to make it just a little bit bigger because we are going to need to see some things, and if you don't have it open, you need to read from the screen. Let's find out what we're going to do. Daniel, do you think you could just start us off with the introduction there? Could you read that for us?
Yes. It's important when communicating to think of the tone you need to use. If you use phrases that are too informal in a formal situation, you will appear rude. But if you use phrases that are too formal in an informal situation, you might appear cold or insidious.
Try it like this. Look. 3 syllables. In.
Sin.
Yeah.
Insincere.
Good. Insincere.
Insincere. Okay. Appear cold or insincere.
Good. So, everyone, what does tone mean in that sentence? Think of the tone you need to use.
Your
What does
feelings.
tone mean?
You are sad or happy or...
Okay, one idea is your feelings. And Roos, what were you saying too?
When you speak more politely or more rude.
More politely or, not rude, but let's say directly.
Yeah.
More politely, which is indirect, and more directly. Okay? So, I think he's got a point, Daniel. It's not just your feelings, but it's the feelings maybe you transmit, depending on how direct or not you are.
Because you can't pretend you are happy, maybe you are sad.
Yes, by your tone you can express also aggressivity, something like this.
By your tone you can? I couldn't hear you,
Can
Vincenzo.
express aggressivity or something like this.
Aggressiveness.
Aggressivity.
Not aggressivity, but aggressiveness.
Aggressiveness. Okay, good. It's very important this, because perhaps you can't be aware of this.
Exactly. You might sound too aggressive if you're too direct, for instance.
Yes.
Well, let's find out what it means to be direct or indirect. Well, let's find out what the tones mean by practicing. Okay, so our objective today, at the end of class, you should be able to adapt your language to more or less formal situations. You should know how to do that by the end of class, if everything goes well. So let's give a few examples just to start off with. By the way, let me say a quick hello to Saud, who's joining us right now. Hello, Saud. Nice to see you.
Me too. How you doing?
Hello, Saud. Saud from Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes, sir.
I remember. Okay.
Thank
So, give me just a second here. I have to open something on my computer. One moment. One moment. Okay, here we go. All right. So, we're going to look at some quotes from famous people. Who said that? Can you match the quote to the person? By the way, some of the language you can use is in this example here. So, can you just read that example for us? When you match the quote to the famous person, if you can say it like this. Can you just read that for us, this example here? Oh, I don't hear Saud. Can you see it? Saud, you got to turn on your microphone. I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. I think X said, dogs never bite me, just humans.
And X would be the person. So what we're going to do is read through the quotes, and we're going to find out later which ones sound formal and informal. We're going to use these as examples of formal and informal language. But first, let's decide who said what. By the way, as we do this, I want you to think of other ways to say the word to say. It's a really good skill to be able to use different words and not repeat yourself. So our key word is to say. Oops. I want you to try to think of some alternatives, and we'll see if they sound good or where we can use say, or an alternative, where we can use it if it doesn't sound quite so good. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to try to think of another way to say it. So these are our examples. I'll keep this on the board. Walt Disney, Audrey Hepburn, Plato, Napoleon, Oscar Wilde, Jimi Hendrix, Marilyn Monroe. I hope you know who these people are. Einstein, John F. Kennedy. These are all very sort of American references, except Plato.
Okay, is this a quotation? Excuse me.
These are all quotations from famous people. We're going to match them up. So, everyone, read a quotation. Tell me who you think said it first. When you talk about, by the way, you don't need to download the file. You can look it on the screen, or as Saud Roos gave you the link as well if you want to open it on your computer. But I'll be sharing it with you on screen. So let's go around the room. Everyone read a quote and see if we can match it up quickly. Adrian, you take the first one for us.
Okay, I know the first one only.
Wait. Adrian, you take the first one. We're going to go right around the room from left to right. Say that for me, Adrian.
I think a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. I think.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. Einstein said a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new.
Well, let's read them all and we'll come back to them. Let's read them all first. Okay? So, Daniel, take the second.
Forgive your enemies, but never forget their names.
Interesting.
Napoleon.
And maybe. And Roos, take the third.
Dogs never bite me, just humans.
And Salvatore.
England is a nation. England is a nation of shopkeepers.
Nation.
Nation. Sorry.
Not
England,
nation, but nation. Okay, very
England
good.
is a nation. Okay.
Okay, and by the way, if there's any questions about the vocabulary, just ask. You know what a shopkeeper is, right?
No, I don't know what is it. Shopkeepers, teacher.
Class. What's a shopkeeper? What's another way to say it? A shopkeeper. Or what's an example?
The owner of a shop.
The owner of a shop is a shopkeeper because keeper is the same as owner. Salvatore? Clear?
No, can you repeat what is it, teacher? Because I can't hear.
Ruth said the owner of a shop. The
Okay, owner of the shop. Okay.
Right.
Okay, I understand,
So,
teacher.
keeper is the same as owner. Okay, and Salwa, can you take the next one?
Okay. I love Mickey Mouse more than any woman I have ever known.
I think this will be easy to match. Saud, can you take the next one?
A man's face is his autobiography. A woman's face is her work of fiction.
Of fiction.
Fiction, sorry.
This is an interesting one. We have to talk about what these mean, too. By the way, let me get this all on screen. Let me get rid of the page view. And we're up to Vincenzo for the next.
That is not the worst that can happen to man.
Wow, that one's pretty profound.
Yes,
We're back to Adrian.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
I don't think this was said so much as sung. I just have a feeling about that. Okay, and Daniel, the last one.
If I get married, I want to be very married.
Okay, so now I want you to think about your quote, the one that you personally read, and let's see if we can match them up. So Adrian and Daniel, you actually have two quotes. Okay, and then we'll compare with the group. One thing I want you to do is try to use an alternative to the word say, if you can. Okay, so let's go around the room again. Adrian.
Yeah.
So match one or both of your quotes.
Yeah. A person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. I think Plato said a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new.
Okay, very good. We'll come back to these in a minute. Class, you decide if you agree or disagree, but we're going to go with... How do you say this word? This name? Sorry?
Plato.
Plato. Plato. In English, we say Plato.
Plato.
All right. Daniel, what about yours?
I think Napoleon said, "Forgive your enemies, but never forget their names."
Can you say that again without using said?
Okay, I think
Can you think of
Napoleon.
another alternative?
I think Napoleon.
Not easy, huh?
Told me.
Told. We're gonna say told.
In my dreams.
Told someone. So you can absolutely say tell, but he didn't tell you because he was dead before you were born. But he told someone. Okay, but that's good. That's very good. So we have said and we have told. Okay. We're back to Rus, I think, was the next one.
Yes, I think Marilyn Monroe said that dogs never bite me, just humans. I need
Marilyn
to
Monroe,
find
right?
alternative.
If you can, yeah. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit either. Just any synonym. So far we have, good, we have to say, oh, again, I keep writing day. We have to say, we have to tell, we have to explain. Okay, it works.
No, I mean, John, I mean exclaim.
Exclaim. I wrote explain, you're right. Exclaim. That means she said it very loudly. I don't know if she said it loudly, but it's possible that she said it. But anyway, it's good, because I want a few alternatives, a few synonyms. Okay? And Salvatore, I think yours was about the shopkeepers, right?
Yes, I think said maybe Oscar Wilde said this.
What else did he do besides say?
Maybe I can say I think Oscar Wilde wrote this sentence in his book.
That's true, but I want a synonym for to say. It's not to write, to say. A synonym. Can you think of another way to say it?
Yes, to tell, told everyone England is a nation of shopkeepers.
All right. You can absolutely use one we used before. I think Oscar Wilde told everyone. Or told England, you're a nation of shopkeepers. I'm going to give you another one. Pointed out that.
Pointed out.
Now, I'm not saying it means exactly the same as say, but it is a good alternative. It's another synonym. And what we want today is a bunch of different ways to say. To point out is another way to say. It's different, but it works.
Okay.
Of course, the meaning is not exactly the same, but don't worry about that. We just want to generate some vocabulary. Okay, and I think we're back to Salwa for the next one.
Yeah, I'm sure Walt Disney, what is it?
I am sure Disney. You sure Disney what?
Said that, or we can imply it's okay or not.
Imply? Okay, it's a good
Yeah.
alternative, but imply means that you didn't say it. Imply means that you suggested it. So it is a good alternative, but in this case, these words came out of his mouth, so he didn't imply it. He really did say it. How about this one? I'm sure Walt Disney mentioned this, or mentioned that he loved Mickey Mouse more than anyone has ever known. So an alternative, another one, could be to mention. We're up to Saud.
Yes, sir. A man's face is his autobiography. A woman's face is her work of fiction.
What do you think?
I think Kennedy, John Kennedy.
Really? Could be. You think
Okay.
Kennedy what?
I think Kennedy stated that.
Good. Stated is an excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Because stated really means to say. It's exactly the same.
No.
I think Kennedy stated that a man's face is his autobiography. Okay, very good. We'll get to the answers in just a minute. I think we're back to Vincenzo.
That is not the worst that can happen to men. I think Einstein thought.
Let me put this in blue so you can see it.
I think Einstein thought.
Instead of thought, though, I want to use a synonym for to say. Can you think of another synonym? We're running out, but maybe there's another one. I don't know.
Thought doesn't work?
Say again?
Thought.
Well, because thought means that you don't speak. It's in your head. So that's why it's too different.
Let me say declared.
Declared. Very good. I like it. Declared. Death is not the worst that can happen to a man. Interesting. Declared is a very good synonym. Okay? And the last two. So Adrian and Daniel. By the way, we have more than enough synonyms, so don't worry about synonyms. I think we've got more than enough to work with right now.
Excuse me, while I kiss the sky. I think I think Andre Hepburn. I don't know.
Why would Audrey Hepburn say this?
Announce it. Like,
We'll find out in a minute. And Daniel, last one.
I think Audrey Hepburn claimed.
Ah. Let's move Audrey Hepburn down there.
Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
I think you're right. Claimed. Claimed is like stated, so it's good. Okay. You want to know the real answers, by the way?
Excuse me, teacher. Exclaim. I have a question, please.
For which? Which word?
I have a question about exclaim.
Exclaimed. Mm-hmm.
You have to raise your voice to exclaim. Is it
Exactly. You have to raise your voice.
Shouting.
Claim is to state. Exclaim is to shout.
Yeah, thank you.
So as I said, these words are not exactly the same as to say, but what I want is a variety of ways that mean the same or slightly different.
Okay, declare is announce, same meaning.
Declare and announce. Yeah, I think so. Declare and announce. Absolutely. In fact, let's add announce, because that's a great word too.
Yeah.
Let's go down here and say announced that, or something like that.
Can I change, teacher?
Sure.
I think John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
Said what?
Instead of Einstein. I think Einstein. I think John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
It's not correct, though.
What?
It's not correct.
Why not?
Because it was Plato. So let's look at the answers. I'll give you the answers. Hold on just a second here. I'll give you the real answers. The real answers are, and it might help if we take a look at what these things. Oh, why can't I highlight this? Give me a second, and I'll get a copy and paste from my notes here. Here are the real answers. So it was actually Einstein that said, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." Well, people often misquote Einstein. Usually he said something a little more complicated than that, and they simplified it. But anyway, it's attributed to him. Attributed means we believe it was him. Attributed. Forgive your enemies, but never forget their names. Wow, that's pretty rough. Apparently that was Kennedy. So which one did we get right? So we have Plato, we have Napoleon. Nope, it was Kennedy. It sounds like Napoleon, doesn't it, Daniel?
Yes.
It should be, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
Dogs never bite just humans. Marilyn Monroe is correct. Marilyn Monroe did say this. But it wasn't Oscar Wilde, it was Napoleon who said England is a nation of shopkeepers. That makes sense, doesn't it? How did Napoleon feel about England?
Excuse me, I hear the phrase which was said by Einstein. It was a person who never do mistake, he do nothing.
In other words, sorry, go ahead. Say again, please.
A person who never do mistake, he do nothing.
Do is incorrect. We don't do mistakes, we make mistakes. This is what we call collocation. Collocation means a pattern in a language, a word pattern. So one kind of word pattern you need to learn is the difference between make and do. For example, make my bed, but I do my homework. I make coffee, but I'm doing lasagna for dinner. So the difference is when you have to make an effort, when it takes work, usually it's do. When you're creating something or you're organizing it, it's usually make. So in this case, it doesn't really follow the rule, but the right answer is actually make, because that's how native speakers always say it, make a mistake. So it was Einstein who said that. Kennedy, we have Marilyn Monroe, Napoleon. By the way, Salvatore, why do you think Napoleon is the right answer here?
Okay,
And not
because
Oscar Wilde.
because Napoleon felt England like a rival.
Like a rival, right.
Rival, yes.
So he didn't have a very high opinion of them. They're just a bunch of shopkeepers. It's not kind of rude, actually.
Yes, he didn't like England because
Exactly.
he thought that France is better than England, maybe.
Better than the rest of the world, too.
Okay, yes.
The next one is Walt Disney, and that is right. How did you know that, Salwa? You're absolutely right. How did you guess?
It's obvious.
Oh, it's obvious. You mean because of Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
Ah, I made it too easy. I'll try to make it more difficult next time.
Okay.
Look at the next one. A man's face is his autobiography. A woman's face is her work of fiction. Oh, come on, that was so obviously Oscar Wilde. Kennedy was the president, so he would never say that, probably. Although what he did say was pretty outrageous. He sounds like Napoleon. So how do we know this is Oscar Wilde? Well, for one, he was a writer, so that can help you. And autobiographies and fiction are ways of writing, so that can help you too. By the way, who was doing this one? I forgot. Who did this one? That was you, Saud, wasn't it?
Yes, it's me.
What do you think it means? A woman's face is her work of fiction. What do you think he means by that? Out of curiosity.
Actually, I didn't understand what he...
Class, help him out. What do you think Oscar Wilde meant by that? When he claimed that a woman's face was a work of fiction and a man's face is an autobiography, what do you think he meant by that? Class.
Women pretend better than men.
Exactly. Women are so much more mysterious. They pretend better. Men are just dumb. And what you see is what you get. Not according to us maybe, but according to Oscar Wilde. Something like that. And Vincenzo, why do you think Plato is the one who said death is not the worst that can happen? Not Einstein.
Yes. Yes, it's very difficult to find out.
Why do you think Plato might have said this? What happened to Plato? Oh, nothing happened to Plato. Never mind. What did Plato witness?
That's not the worst that can happen. Because he was very idealistic.
Yeah, it's true. Very idealistic. But he witnessed the death of a very good friend. So it makes me think of the death of Socrates.
Better to have some ideal than to die.
That's interesting. It's better to have some idea that you're remembered for than to die and be forgotten.
Die without doing nothing.
Without doing anything. Yeah, very idealistic. That could be too, yeah. Maybe that's it. Okay, and the last one. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Trust me, that was not Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn was not into psychedelic 60s music. She didn't sing, that I know of. It has to be Jimi Hendrix. So what you practiced there was the verb to say and some alternatives for the verb to say, which we're going to use in the next part. Let's get a little practice with formal and informal language specifically. So what I'm going to do here is a little discussion. I've given you the answers to the quotes, but what I really want you to do is to have a little discussion about when formal and informal forms are appropriate. So let me give you some material here. Give me just a second. I'm going to copy and paste this for you. Say and tell. First, a little bit of practice with say and tell. Take a look at your screen, and you tell me which one fits the sentence. Whoops. Give me just a second here. Which one fits the blank, say or tell? Fill in the gaps with the sentences below. Use the right form. And if you can, try to use one of the alternatives that we just mentioned. See if that will fit as well. Okay, so Adrian, take the first one for us.
Yeah, Jason. Jason. I think it's Jason said he was going to the party on Saturday night.
Right? By the way, well, never mind. I'm not going to say anything. You're absolutely right. We'll work out the rules in just a minute. Okay, so far so good. Keep going. Daniel?
My mom told me that she was a hippie in the 70s.
Told me is correct. Okay, so far so good. Hopefully you're beginning to see a pattern now. Okay, Bruce, take the third.
We said good night and went to bed.
Perfect. Salvatore.
Honest people always tell the truth.
Honest people always, say again?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
The truth.
Very good. And you knew to put it in the present tense because it's always, so it has to be present. Excellent. And Salawa.
I learned it to the time when I was 5 years old. Learned I learned to tell the time when I was 5 years old.
Exactly. I learned to tell the time when I was 5. So this one is tell. This one and the last one are tell. And notice how they're a little different than the second one. We're going to work out the rules about when you use one or the other in just a moment. Okay, we're up to Saud for the next.
He said he is a doctor, but I think he is telling a lie.
You think he's telling a lie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So far, you're all correct. And we're up to Vincenzo.
Allora, he does when the meeting. Tell me when the meeting is finished, and I'll come and clear up the room.
Excellent. Tell me when the meeting's finished. Excellent. Okay, Adrian?
Sally. Sally, I think it is I think it say.
So say the whole sentence for me. Sally?
Sally said to her husband that she will leave him if he saw the woman again.
That is
Oh,
correct. That is absolutely correct. Okay, Daniel?
I would like to say a few words of thanks to the organizers of this event.
Excellent. That's good. That's good. Okay, and last one to Bruce.
Why are you so silent? Come on, tell something. Or say something.
Which is it? Tell or say? Which?
Tell. I think both of were.
Okay, say, tell, or both. Class, what do you think? Is it say, tell, or can we say both of these? What's your opinion, class?
Say.
Daniel says say. Do we agree with him?
Tell something.
In fact, that
Tell,
leads
tell us something or say something.
Tell us something would be correct. Tell us something would be correct. Say something is also correct. So that leads us to the rule. This is how you can remember. The rule is, you said, Daniel, tell us something. So tell someone, say something. That's the rule. If you don't say someone, you cannot use tell. So tell us something would be fine, or just simply say something.
Say something to us.
Say something, and then you can add the to someone. If you're going to add something, you need the to. Say something to him. Tell me, tell it to him. You can also say, tell it. So let's take a look, because there's another example up there. My mom told me that she was a hippie in the 70s. My mom told it to me. So we can replace it if it's a preposition. Honest people always say the truth. Honest people always tell the truth. Well, tell the truth is the right answer. Say the truth is okay as well. How does that fit our rules, I wonder? Give me a second here. So, I guess what we want to say here is, if you can replace it with a pronoun like it, you can have tell it to someone, and that would also be okay. But you have some exceptions where you can just say a something, like something as in the truth. That's an exception. Tell the truth. Tell a lie. I think he's telling a lie. Tell the truth, tell a lie. So these are exceptions to the rule. So basically, the general rule is you always tell somebody and you always say something. But the exceptions are tell it to someone, or tell the truth or tell a lie. And the exceptions for say is just to add a person, you have to put to. That's the only exception. Basically, you got them all right, so I think you're doing quite well. So, which of these are formal and which are informal, class? Think about the ones that you said and tell me, which of these did any of you say a formal one? Which ones are more formal?
Say, of course.
Say again, please.
Say is formal than tell.
Not necessarily, no. It really depends on the sentence. Which of these sentences is more formal? Out of the sentences we just practiced, which one is more formal? What do you think?
Honest people always tell the truth. It's formal.
Honest people always tell the truth? I disagree. I don't think it's formal. I think it's just normal, everyday English.
Okay.
But say again?
First one.
Jason
Jason
said he was going to the party?
Yeah.
I don't think it's formal either. He's just reporting what he's doing. There is one that's formal, though. There is one that's a little bit formal. Do you see what it
Okay.
is?
Nice sentence. I would like to. I
Exactly.
think
This is the only one that's a bit more formal. What makes it formal? So you're absolutely right. What makes it formal? How do we know it's
I would like to.
right? So more formal, what you can do is add what I call conditional words. These are also called modal verbs. Modal verbs. Which ones are the best? Would, could, should, might, or what we call
Ought
second condition. And ought to, yes. Most people don't use it, that's why I didn't add it. But you're right, ought to is another one.
Yeah.
Second conditional modal verbs, in other words. That's one way to make it more formal. And up here, the ones we did earlier, all of these, almost all of these, were formal because they were kind of like announcements. It's not all, but several of them. Kind of like announcements or sayings. Things that a president says, for example, is probably going to be said in a speech. So, more formal.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to ask you. I wanted to ask you, what was it? Give me a second. Yeah. Give me just a second here. After those quotes, what did I want to ask you? I lost my place. Give me a second here. Oh, yeah, here we go. I want you to, since we're talking about what makes something formal, it's good if we can think of a clear example. Before we get to the speaking, let's discuss. When we discuss it, I think we'll also work out some of the rules for being formal. I've given you two, but maybe there's a few others that we're missing. Give me a second here. There we go. Look at the list of situations and discuss the questions that follow. I'm going to give you the questions in a second. First, let's just look at these together. And give me just a second here. Do I have all these? Yeah. So go down the list. And what I want you to do is tell me which situations would you use formal or informal English. Which of these are more formal and which are more informal, do you think?
Number one.
Tell me about number one, Saud.
Okay. If you write a work email to a lot of people in your company who you don't personally know, you should use a formal paragraph or email to people.
And what's something you could say, I agree with you, what's something you could say to be a little more formal here?
You can start with, this is to inform you that. This is more formal.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now, so already we can see we can add a rule to what makes things formal.
Yeah.
We can have not just conditional words, but we can have fixed phrases.
Fixed phrases. And if you use I would like to, this is, I think, for formal for a small group people.
I would like.
Not
right.
for all the personnel in the company.
Huh? Well, let's talk about it in general. I would like is just a more indirect, or what we call polite request.
Yes.
And it's true. You might use this in a small group. Sure.
Yeah.
So we have two basic ideas: fixed phrases polite requests. Polite requests often use those conditional words. Okay? And Salvatore, I think we cut you off. I think you were starting to say something. Am I right?
Yes, no, I just wanted to say the same things, that the first one is more formal.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any other situations that are formal in the
Of
list?
course.
Like what?
A
Yes,
job interview.
Okay, great. And what's something that you might say in a job interview that you wouldn't say in everyday life?
For example, I can say if if I had a job interview, I would like to explain my experience in the world of work, because I could make any job in your companies, maybe.
Exactly. And so that's another example of being less direct, in indirect form. I would like. Little less direct than I want to, I would like. Okay? So we've got those three ideas: polite request, fixed phrases, and indirect forms. And polite and indirect forms use the same basic idea. Now we've got another thing too. For
job
example,
interview,
sure.
I think I'm so glad to join your company.
Yes,
Can start with this phrase.
you can. There's a lot of things we could say, but is that formal? I mean,
think
it's nice to say.
I'm
It's
so
not.
glad.
It's nice
Yeah.
to say. It's not necessarily formal, but yeah, there's a lot of things we could say. Let me see if I can give you one other example, and then we'll try a little speaking activity here. Give me just a second. Oh, just a question. On the topic of being formal, are there any differences between being formal in your language than in English? Just out of curiosity. Are there any differences, like, for example, in a Latin language like Spanish or Italian? Are there any differences between being formal in a Latin language than in English? Because we have Italian speakers and Spanish speakers.
Yes.
Like what?
Yes, maybe because in Italian, for example, when I have to talk with a person that he is older than me,
Right?
I can't use I'm not sure how to explain. I can't use the you, but I can call the person with the third person. Because if I use the you, the second person, means that I have confidence with that person.
You are
And
confidential. You're intimate. You're familiar.
yes.
Exactly. You're too familiar. Okay, very good. So the formal you is a great example of a difference. Is there a formal you in English? Is there a formal and informal you in English? Do you know?
Yes.
What is it? What's the formal you? So in Italian, you can't use tu with someone who is older than you, right?
Right.
You have to say what? Il signore. What do you have to say?
Usted.
Usted. Usted in Italian?
No,
Lei.
in Spanish.
No, lei.
Lei. Lei. Grazie lei. You have to say lei. Okay. Is there a formal you like lei in English? Do you know?
No, teacher, I don't know.
Mister.
Mister.
Okay. There's an equivalent. There's an equivalent in English, like you said. We use a title if it's formal.
Sir.
Yeah. Last name. Sir.
Sir.
Adam. If it's really formal. And in fact, you probably have already noticed we are rarely formal in English. Do you know what the formal you is in English? It's you. That's the formal you. And the informal you, if I remember correctly, was thou.
Thou.
Thou and thee.
Excuse me, teacher, but when you are in front of an older person than you can say, in order, like the lay, Italian lay, you, sir. It seems very strange, no?
You, sir, are a gentleman. And it's right. It is right. You can say that, but it's very formal.
But it's not the correspondent lay, Italian lay.
Well, it's the closest we have. What happened is this. In many languages, the formal you disappeared, like Brazilian Portuguese. We have two forms in Portuguese. We have tu and we have você. And in Brazilian Portuguese, they got rid of tu. There's no more informal. English had the same exact thing. The informal disappeared, and we just have the formal, you. So when you read the Bible, you say, for thine is the kingdom, because I guess you speak in an informal way with God. It's intimate. Thine, your.
even the high position.
Excuse me, teacher.
You cannot say
wait. One at a time. I can't hear everyone at once. One at a time. So, wait, Vincenzo, you were first. Let me just finish what you were saying, and then I'll go to Saud. What were you saying, Vincenzo?
And it seems to me that you don't have an informal you like in Italian or Spanish, like usted or lei, because your informal you is very, can I say, it's not so kind, so smooth, so like lei or usted. It seems very, very detached.
Well, you're right. What I'm saying is, 300 years ago, we used to. But we lost it. It's gone now.
Don't you have something more light, more informal, more light than sir, you, sir?
You mean
like
for using formal language? You mean to be formal?
You have to say a lot of words in order to say to be polite.
You have to. This is the main idea that I wanted to get to, actually. The main idea is this. English uses register. Register is the style of language. It uses the style, not a particular word. 300 years ago, we had a difference. Now, we don't have that difference between...
Can you make me an example?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's take the things we said before. By the way, more than do an example, let's actually practice. The problem is I'm going to have to practice in another class, but I'll schedule another class for this. So we talked about conditionals, and that's one example of register. So if you say formal register, obviously you can use a title. You can use a word like sir.
Yes, I agree.
You can also use would, could, should. In other words, you can use a more polite form using would, could, should, and might. Those are all elements of a formal style, and you can use fixed phrases too. And informal is when we use just slang and another kind of phrase, slang phrases or idiomatic phrases.
Yes.
Idiomatic phrases are, up.
But in a formal situation, instead of usted or lei, I would like to give you only two words in order to express you in a formal way.
I guess we don't really ever refer to people. We just speak. We don't really refer to you. We don't really say you. In fact, you shouldn't say you because it sounds too direct. So all you can do is just change the style, and that's it. But you know what? This will make a lot more sense when we practice it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can schedule another class where we can just practice this. Of course, I'll do it next Wednesday in the normal time slot. Okay, but if I can find another time slot this week, I'll send you all a message, and we'll have some practice time with this in a few different situations. Okay, if I can't get an extra hour, which is possible, if I can't get it, next Wednesday we'll continue from there. I'm going to start the business class right now, so stick around for the next hour. We're going to finish our unit on how to talk about how to deal with business culture, coming up in just a minute. Bye for now, everyone. See you in a moment. Bye for now.
Thank you, teacher. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.